In 2017, it was estimated that 90% of the UK's population were living in urban settlements. By 2030, urban areas are projected to house 60% of people globally. This urbanisation has led to a dramatic removal of humans from nature. This recent phenomenon has been reported to specifically affect younger children. Today we will be investigating children's current relationship with nature, how this has arisen, and the impacts that this has on both humans and nature. Research has found that just a generation ago, 40% of children regularly played in natural areas. Today it is at just 10%, with a further 40% never playing outside. We asked some parents how they spent their childhood compared to that of their children.
As a child, we used to just run about in shorts and t-shirt and whatever, and we used to get excited about, oh, there's a tunnel under the road with water flowing through it. Let's go and investigate. I mean, kids probably wouldn't do that these days.
So I remember basically being outside all the time, playing in mud, playing in sand, being dirty, playing with worms, snails.
I mean, I was brought up on a farm. My father, he works along with the cattle or the cows, and in a farm you're outdoors mostly all the time.
Several decades ago, the majority of young people were able to identify most common local species. Children today, however, struggle with even the simplest identification. A number of scientists and psychologists have blamed the rise of new technologies on the lack of connection in nature in today's children. To further investigate this topic, we spoke to child psychologist Dr. Nathan Wilson.
Despite technology's many benefits, there are also a number of negative effects, and these are particularly important to children. One of the most recent key findings has been the increase in attention deficit with children due to their reliance on instant gratification from technology. There is evidence that the amount of risk of children being outside has not increased much over the last few decades. But despite this, parents are now restricting their children to mostly spending time inside and not getting the opportunity to roam and explore outside.
We found that the views of the parents we spoke to correlated with that of the studies.
Much fear, and parents keep their children wrapped up in cotton wool.
I think there's been a cultural change in I think a generation or so ago, it was safe for children to come out their house and play on the street. And nowadays it's kind of not seen as safe to do that because of cars.
Perhaps parents don't have enough time because there's pressure on the parents. There's more pressure on parents now to go out working, so perhaps they don't have enough time to go out and play with the children.
My niece, she's 6, going 7, and just always wants to be on the iPad, always wants to be doing things.
The easy stimulation provided by TV and games has rapidly increased in popularity. Many of these TV and games actually do provide an opportunity to learn about the natural world. Wildlife documentaries have witnessed increased viewership. Nevertheless, there is a vast difference between learning about nature and fully experiencing it. Recent studies have reported that this removal from natural spaces is having severe implications on health and well-being. Nature deficit disorder, a term coined in 2006 by American author Richard Louv, refers to the physiological and psychological effects of spending less time in the natural environment. We asked some parents and some rangers if and how they thought this affected their children's mental health.
More rickets now and things in Scotland because of it. And also mental health. There's a lot more mental health problems with children nowadays, and a lot of that is to do with the restrictions they have, I think, and the lack of time outdoors. Children are much calmer and they're more soothed when they're outside in the fresh air.
It impacts their mental health, that sort of being inside, shutting off, not being stimulated. I think it has been proven that parts of your brain shut off.
This new trend in remaining detached from nature has, however, not gone unnoticed. Huge amounts of media and scientific research has drawn public attention. Increases in nature deficit disorder symptoms has led to a need for change. Obesity, ADHD, and ill mental health are the most commonly occurring effects of this nature deficit disorder. Schools have made outdoor learning part of the new curriculum, and the UK government has placed £900 million into the Countryside Stewardship Scheme, much of which will focus on encouraging young people out into nature. With changes in child behaviour have come changes in culture. Last year, over 20 words linked to the natural environment were removed from the Oxford English Dictionary, replaced instead by new technological phrases.
The factor is that children are now losing the vocabulary to describe things in the outside world. A key problem for this is that they have now lost a way to express the value of nature and have lost a way to actually connect to the outside world.
I think that's probably fine.
In his book, The Lost Words, Robert Macfarlane discusses the implications of such changes to society. He argues that without words, we lose emotion, and without emotion, we lose caring. Once this caring is lost from a generation, will we lose the will to protect nature?
Today's easy access to technology is leading to nature deprivation, and what is lost through that might be far more detrimental than what is gained. Powering down and going outside has long-term implications for humans and for the survival of the planet itself.